Hey guys, Alex from 7th Hour Films back again with JoJo's Bizarre Adventure. Last time on JoJo's Bizarre Adventure, we had 6 Bullets Appears Part 2, where basically Mista was fighting the one dude who was partnered with the other dude who went to the boat, and he used his stand, Arts and Crafts, to stop objects in midair, and then he could fire them back at Mista, say like a bullet, by tapping it a bunch, and that would build up kinetic energy. It's the stasis power in Breath of the Wild, basically. And Mista was able to defeat him by basically tricking him, getting the 6 bullets in incredibly close, and firing a bullet, I guess near point blank, into another bullet into his head. So yeah. And then he made it down the mountain just as Giorno was starting to head back up the island, up the mountain. So yeah. But yeah, that's where we left it 2 weeks ago. And yeah, I'm excited to get back into this and see more. And I must say, and I know I guess I've kind of talked about this already in part 5, but I'm really enjoying the setting. You know, I'm really enjoying being in Italy. It's so, like, Italy is already a beautiful country, and you put that into anime, it's even more beautiful, you know? So, yeah, I'm enjoying myself with part 5. Anyway, you can probably hear my voice is tired. This is what happens when you do take a week off of your job. Whatever you were doing, you're not as good as you were anymore. So, my voice is getting tired because I'm not used to talking this much, so, yeah. But that's not going to stop me from watching this episode of JoJo's Bizarre Adventure. Link to the reaction is down in the description and in the pinned comment for your viewing pleasure. So let's just go ahead and jump right in. Here we go. Well, yeah, it's a plane, and he's tiny. All right. Well, I gotta look up this dude's voice, because if I don't, it's gonna drive me up a wall. Because we have definitely heard this dude on JoJo before. Alright. Well, first off, the original name of Tiny Feet is Little Feet. Okay. The stand of Formaggio. Interesting name. Ah, formaggio, which means cheese in Italian. Cool. And dub voice actor is Jonas Scott. What do we know this guy from? Has he not been on JoJo before? That's so weird. Ah, wait a second. Here it is. Attack on Titan, the final season as Willie Tybur. That's what I was hearing. Okay. It was so recent that I thought it was on JoJo, but no. Alright, that's all I got on this guy. Alright. I like his voice. It is a good voice. Alright then. Well, okay. Here's some good news. I did not see spoilers. I did not see any spoilers. But now I know that Naranja's stand is actually called Aerosmith. Alright, that's kind of clever. It's better than Little Feet. Okay, so. Okay, a lot of stuff that happened in this episode. Oh, I guess we could look up Mr. Pericolo. Leonard Draper voices this guy. Do we know? Boy, he's been doing this for a while. Oh, he's in the Cowboy Bebop movie. Which I'm not to yet, but I'll get there. Oh, and he is just in Cowboy Bebop as well, as Bob. I haven't found Bob yet, so we'll get there. Okay, apparently I don't recognize him from anything. So, oh well. Oh well. Still, good voice. Anyway. Okay. So, we found all the lira, all the treasure, all the fortune, and I love that it's in a place that only Bucciarati could find, you know? Nobody else would ever be able to find it there, you know? So, that was clever. And because of this, and handing it over to Piercolo, the other capo, Bucciarati has now become a capo and the successor to Polpo, which was pretty cool. So yeah, that was really great, and he now has complete, administration over Napoli, which is pretty cool. So yeah, and just all of that, all the duties he has now, and it's like, ooh, this is a lot, but I like it. This is really interesting, you know? So yeah, he is going to be a capo. And it's so interesting because it's like all of this was not really, I feel like, part of the plan, you know? This was never part of the plan. I don't even know like how much Giorno intended on this, you know? Because the whole point in killing Polpo was basically, I guess, just to avenge the old man that died, you know? Like, that was pretty much it. Like, I don't know, like, it's all kind of worked out into Giorno's plan, but I don't know how much of this he really intended, but here we are, you know? But yeah. I guess we could look up the daughter, too. Without spoilers. Which I know you guys are probably thinking it's very difficult for me to avoid spoilers, but you just have to be clever enough. For instance, we're going to look up her name with the help of good old-fashioned subtitles.
Bucciarati. Could that guy be?
I love that they mistake her for a man, which is exactly what Joseph does when he first sees Lisa when she's wearing the mask. And both times, it's like, dude, you can't tell that's a woman. Unless maybe they're just trying not to assume.
That's fine. Go ahead,
Trish. Alright, Trish. I'm gonna write down Trisha. Alright, Trish Una. So, now, Trish Una voice, if I could spell that correctly. Voice actor. Alright. English voice is Lizzie Freeman. Alright. Nothing. Nothing. That always sucks when I try to look them up and I just I got nothing. I have absolutely nothing on this one. Oh well. But anyway, that's how I do it. That's how I look up voice actors without spoilers, you know? So, it says here on BehindTheVoiceActors.com, she was born in Oklahoma City. Oh, a fellow Oklahoman. She's, I don't know, she seems to be doing better than I am. She's on JoJo. I'm not on JoJo. Jesus. Meanwhile, in the trending this week that I just noticed on Behind the Voice Actors, trending this week, Billy Kometz, R.I.P. Man was a friggin' legend. And he's actually trending higher than James Earl Jones. Jesus. Alrighty. And back it goes. For a third time. And I'm back. Okay. So, we are now taking on the responsibility that Polpo was given, which is to guard Trish, the boss's daughter, which is interesting. It's really interesting because honestly, this is kind of giving off sort of Dio vibes a bit. Just a bit, and mainly just because of Giorno, you know? Like, this is a kid around the same age who, actually the exact same age as Giorno, who apparently, you know, their father never knew about, you know? Father never knew about. It was just a random sort of, well, I don't know if random is the right word, but yeah, it's just, I mean, I guess the boss is still alive. Dio is dead, you know? I guess that's sort of the difference, is that the boss had a kid that he didn't know about. Dio had at least, Giorno, maybe even intentionally had Giorno, and then, well, he was killed by Jotaro. So, but I just find that really interesting. But yeah, so they want to protect, they got to protect Trish for the boss, which is interesting. And clearly, so I don't remember, did they state how many capos there were? I could have sworn when in one of the at the beginning of one of these episodes, they showed like the hierarchy of the Passione, and I thought it was 4 capos. 2 of them now being Pericolo. Oh, I spelled that right. Yes. Pericolo and now Bucciarati, formerly Polpo. So presumably then it's the other two capos that are dangerous. But that now means that the boss only trusts the 2 of them. He only trusts 2 of his capos, Pericolo and Bucciarati, which is interesting. Ironically, he trusts Bucciarati, but Bucciarati is on a plot to take the boss down, But it's also interesting because, just the different reasons, Giorno and Bucciarati, they want to take down the boss to stop the drugs, to better Italy as opposed to bringing it down, to, I guess, just be a force for good, have the Familia be a force for good, whereas the others, they just want to take control away from the boss. Now, presumably, the boss is also a stand user, So, I'd be very curious about that. And presumably, I'm just going to assume that the boss is our villain of Part 5, Where, we've had Dio, Cars, Dio again, Kira, and now the boss is going to be our villain. But it'll be interesting to see when they're going to show him at all, I mean, it did take a long time to get anything with Kira, so I could see that being the case for the boss, whatever his name is, So yeah, but very, very interesting stuff. Very, very interesting stuff. So yeah, we have to guard Trish. Trish, who is a little bit high maintenance, I'm gonna say. She asks for very specific things. Water with minerals from France. Interesting. It's like, I don't know. I'm sure France is a great place and all, but do you have to have water specifically from France when you're in Italy? I don't know. And it's interesting, too, because, it seemed like, with the way they described her backstory, it's like, you kind of just figured, oh, well, she'll, she's just this girl who, she was just an ordinary girl, but then, now she knows that she's the boss's daughter, and we just have to protect this girl, basically. But her being that high maintenance, I don't know, it almost strikes me as a spoiled rich kid, but she didn't have that, presumably. I mean, I don't know, we don't know what happened with her mother, but yeah. I mean, we know her mother died, but we don't know, I guess just the life she lived. But I was not expecting her to be that high maintenance, And I guess by high maintenance, it's mainly, she wants very specific things as well as water with minerals from France, I don't know. But yeah, so that's really, really interesting. And yeah, we're on a mission. We have to protect Trish, which is really interesting. And then not only that, so there are others in the Passione who we're now going to have to fight, presumably, well, pretty much, yeah. I mean, undoubtedly, all of them will now be stand users, which is interesting. And I like how this guy, this capo, he's not a stand user, which is interesting. And presumably Trish isn't as well, because she wouldn't have never gone through the ritual. But, so presumably, I don't know how long the Passione has existed, or how, we don't know how old the boss is, or how long he's been in charge of the Passione. As well, we don't know if he had any predecessors. So I'm curious if, like, did this guy actually do the thing, the thing with the lighter, and he kept it lit for 24 hours? Or is it specifically, maybe this guy is from a time before, the Passione had a stand arrow. It could be. It could potentially be. I don't know. Where did they get the stand arrow? I swear to God, if they got the stand arrow from Enyaba again, that's going to be a little bit... It's going to be a little bit too much of a coincidence, between... Yeah, because it wasn't just that there was the stand arrow that Keicho Nijimura had, but also Kira's father specifically got that from Enyaba. So that's already two, pretty much, that comes from Enyaba. So I don't know if this stand arrow that they had... Here's the next question. What happened to that arrow? Because Pulpo had it. It was Pulpo's because he had the stand for it. He seemed to be the keeper of it. Who knows? Maybe all the capos are supposed to have stand arrows. I don't know, but that's an excellent question. That is an excellent question. I guess I just want to know a lot more of, like, the history and stuff about the Passione. So, yeah. And honestly, I gotta say, 9 episodes in, and I feel like we're firing on all cylinders here. Like, this has been really, really good. Where I feel like this time, part 4, things were slipping a little bit. We were starting to get a little too much of he who shall not be named, But here, I haven't seen one bad episode, and honestly, not one bad character. Like, this entire gang, I really enjoy them. Including someone who I feel like could be annoying, but they managed to make him fun. Narancia. Narancia is really interesting with his little stupid, he's got a stupid fucking plane. I love that. It's stupid, but I love that. He's just got a plane, he shoots crap. Like, cool. Like, that's really interesting. It's honestly like Bad Company or Worst Company, whatever you want to call it. Where he had an entire... Keicho Nijimura, he had an entire army. Now, that just got one plane, But, hey, bullets and bombs, that's going to be a hell of a weapon. So, I like that. It's interesting. So, I like how they kind of go back and forth. Like, some of them, Abakio, Bucciarati, Giorno, they all have, humanoid stands. But then you get... 6 Bullets and Little Bomber that are more... They're just things, I guess you could say maybe 6 Bullets aren't a humanoid, but mini-humanoid. And then we got Tiny Feet, which is interesting. Which, hey, it's an interesting thing of, like, well... It's an interesting thing of, like, the design is very interesting. The one claw it has is very interesting. And its ability is very interesting, too, And I understand why he's like, some of the other guys, they mock me for my power and stuff, but it's like, well, no, that's not a bad power, honestly. You just have to figure out how to use it properly. And presumably, he can return things to normal size, and so it'd just be like Amit. So he could just be carrying anything at a moment's notice and then just re-enlarge it, Like, if he was just out and about and, like, I don't know why this is the first thing that came to my mind, but, if he shrunk just an AK-47, put it in his pocket, got it up, resized it and then started shooting, he could, I don't know why that's the first thing that came to my mind, but it is. So yeah, it's like, that's interesting. That's an interesting kind of thing. It's kind of similar, I guess you could say, to, what was it, Enigma, I guess, or Mysterioso in the dub. It's like, this sort of like, well, you can carry things, So, yeah, it's interesting. The names are getting stupider, but it's interesting, and it's an interesting design, so I'll take it. So, yeah. And he's apparently going to shrink Narancia for some reason. I'm not sure why. And honestly, why did he confront Narancia? Wouldn't it have been better if he just shrunk himself down, got in the car, And then that would have led him, Narancia would be none the wiser and lead him straight to where they were. Like, why did he even reveal himself? He's not very bright. Oh well. But yeah, interesting stuff. Very, very interesting stuff, and I'm excited to see where we're going. I mean, we're pretty much taking specific episodes to just show everyone in this gang, So we had an episode we obviously had episodes first off with Giorno, then Bucciarati, then we got Abbacchio and Mista, now it's time for Narancia, and presumably after this is an episode about Fugo. So yeah. Very, very interesting stuff, and I'm excited to see where we're going next time. But that is basically it. With all that being said, I'm Alex from 7th Hour Films, and I will see you guys next time. Take care. Alright guys, thanks for watching this video. There's a bunch of links on screen if you want to go click around to any of those. There's a playlist for all of my JoJo's Bizarre Adventure reactions, as well as another video you can go click on if you want. There's also a subscribe button and a Patreon button on screen, as well as other links in the description if you want to go check out any of those. See you guys later.